Hey everyone, this is Sperry, and today we will be talking about Joey's most recent live stream interview. I think it was on Gag Strategist's channel. You can go and check that out on his channel if you'd like in its whole entirety. I know personally that I skimmed it, and I mainly focused on the points that had to do with new content and had to do with their direction moving forward, because the other stuff just wasn't quite as interesting to me. You guys might enjoy watching the whole thing, depending on how interesting you find the Toontown Rewritten team to be. And I would definitely recommend you guys watch that video before you really look at my commentary, just because I don't want you to get a biased view. I want you to get the primary source, and you can interpret it the way you would like, and possibly compare it to the way that I view the interview went. So I'm just going to go ahead and dissect, in my opinion, the most important things of that interview, what they mean for the direction of the game, and just how I think the interview went and what it signals for the future. So, first and foremost, I would definitely have to say that the decision by Joey to cover the topics that he did, address the interview in the way that he did, where he was very open-ended about his promises, but he said all the right things. I mean, quite honestly, I'm sure that in the back of his mind, Joey has very similar goals for this game as I do or anyone else does. He talked a lot about, for example, one part that I definitely agreed with the statement he made where he was saying, we need to fix these bugs in the early game so that newer players can actually consider joining, and we have to give older players content to not make them quit. I mean, he's saying the right things, for sure, and he did a good job remaining level-headed and addressing all the questions he was asked, at least to the best of his ability, I felt like, and he gave actual answers. But, of course, the caveat to that is that he gave very little specifics about how those answers will actually be implemented. And what I mean by this is, he's like, okay, we need to fix all the bugs, we need to add new content, we need to make the game fun, do these updates. It's like, yeah, no shit, of course that's what you have to do. And it was a good idea for him to address those things, but really, saying you're going to do them and actually doing them is much different. In my opinion, I don't think TTR has the resources to develop this new playground and, make all these, random fucking updates and also bug fix. I feel like they do not have the capacity to do both of those things, given their lack of resources. So definitely I would have to say that I disagree a little bit with the direction that they're going here. They're trying to spread themselves too thin, I feel like, because they're promising too much, and I feel like a lot of what they're promising kind of contradicts itself, if that makes sense, where it's just not possible for them to cover that much ground. What I would like to see them do is, instead of saying, okay, we're going to make a new world, we're going to do all this fun shit somewhere down the line, and maybe we'll fix some bugs, I would prefer for them to just say, okay, we're going to devote the next 6 months to making this game bug-free, making it so new people can play, making it so that it's more stable, and then once we've got that foundation started, we can do some long-term project. But just based on how many unreleased things there are, how many unreleased pieces there are to this puzzle, I would have to say that I'm definitely of the mindset that nothing's going to get done, and they're going to use this spreading themselves thin as a strategy to not get anything done. Because they need to release doodles, they need to release parties, they need to bug fix the game, and now they're promising this new world, Oswald Oasis. And, of course, if they got all that stuff done, I would be highly impressed. I would be beyond impressed if they could actually get all this shit released in 2 years. Let's say 2 years from now we've got a bug-fixed game, we've got parties and doodles, and most importantly, we've got this new world with, a chairman-type shit in Oswald Oasis. That would be pretty fucking cool. That would be insanely impressive, I would say that those developers and that team and Joey himself, they could use this on a resume if they could actually get that much progress done in 2 years. But if you look back of how much they've actually accomplished in the last 2 years before this, with admittedly much less pressure and a much greater amount of resources, because there was more hype for the game back then, more people playing, more people donating, there was a greater stream of income coming in. I would have to say that I don't magically believe that they're going to be 10 times more productive in the next 2 years than they were in the first two. Because, like I said, what have they really done in these last 2 years, aside from having a server running which literally just requires money? I'm not saying it's not impressive that they fundraised the game, but they really, aside from fundraising the game to make the server stable, what have they really accomplished on TTR? I mean that completely sincerely. They made some very minor tweaks to the game on little issues here and there that were actually pretty good, most of the changes they've made I'm actually in favor of. They've just done almost nothing. It's really just been a very slow effort without a lot of progress. And, I mean, they haven't done anything aside from, I guess, Toonfest to really fuck up the game, but at the same time, they're just not making meaningful progress towards any type of solution. And now all of a sudden they're promising, what's on their agenda is literally like at least 5 to 6 times, if not many more, because they're making a new fucking world. They're going way more ambitious than what they've already promised to do and didn't deliver on. So, yeah, Joey said all the right things. I think this was a very smart and good interview he gave. It's going to get a lot of people in the community off of his back. It's going to get a lot of people thinking, oh, well, why don't we just give them more time? Because look at all these things they're promising. This is a really cool agenda. He's saying all the right things. So I think that was a good interview by Joey, and I think that more than likely there's going to be a period of at least 3 to 4 months where everybody gets off of their case and says, let's give him some more fucking time. Sperry, stop being a cunt. Give him more time. Sure, my videos are going to get a lot of dislikes in this coming period because we have a period of hope. And you know what? I hope I'm proven wrong. I really hope I'm proven wrong. But I think more than likely not 1 or 2 years when people go back and look at this timeline, they're going to say, Sperry was actually right. And I don't want that to be the case, but they're just promising too much. I don't see any feasible way they get this shit done. They just don't have the resources to. It's not saying they're incompetent. It's saying these people have lives. They have responsibilities. Most of the people on this staff have things to do. And they're also not devoting their life to this. They're not professionals. So it's really not meant to insult anyone on the team. I just don't think that all these empty promises have any way of being delivered. Because there is no way it can get done. It's like saying if I was going to be running a marathon, right? And like halfway through my pace is like 15 minutes per mile. And then in the end, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to run 4-minute miles and pump this thing out. And we're going to get done. Like, I'm literally going to go from running 15-minute miles to 4-minute miles. It just doesn't happen like that. So I have to say that I am concerned about the direction of this. I'm concerned about how much they're promising. A lot of people are very hyped and excited for it, and I can understand why. It just makes me more concerned because it shows to me that they have no semblance of reality, no semblance of their own limitations or failures. They're not making adjustments to try to actually do the best they can with their resources. Instead, they're just promising too much. And a lot of companies do this shit too. It's like, this is literally the type of shit you see from management in like big companies that just makes everybody like freak out because it's cringeworthy, I feel like, to promise more than you can genuinely do. And you know what? If we look back on this in 2 years and I look like a fucking idiot, I hope that's what happens. I really do. It would be amazing for this community if we could get all this content out, but oh man, it's just somehow I'm not convinced. I'm not. And but the concept of the world they want to make, Oswald Oasis, let's get it right. It's a very cool concept. It would have another boss battle, it would have never tasks. Joey said things like trying to go about a unique direction that's not just defeating more cogs, maybe adjust the algorithm of battle. All this shit. Well, you know what? Each of those individual pieces takes months to design and do. Especially given the fucking rate everything else has been done at, because it's been considered like a 2-month release to do something like change the way invasions work, or like just extremely minor alterations like that. Not saying they're bad, but if that's how much time's going to be devoted to each of these little pieces of minutia, there's no way they get done that quickly. It takes fucking King's Isle, which has voiceovers for their shit. Obviously, I mean, I'm not saying they're doing great, but they have a much bigger budget than a fucking private server. It still takes them a really long time to release worlds. I just don't see it happening. I think if we get a world in the next year or two, it's going to be either complete dog shit, or they're just going to have some concept art for it by the end of these 2 years. Those are my predictions. Hope I'm wrong. There's just so much more to developing a world than these people actually realize, because they've never actually developed a meaningful piece of content in this game. Because for all the genius TTR gets credited for, they've really developed next to nothing that's original and meaningful for this game. They took the source code, they made very small alterations to different parts, but they have never truly made an individual piece of content anything like what they did in the original game. So I think there's a lot more, even from the brainstorming side, figuring out all the small details. You can't just throw this shit together. You have to have it very cohesive. making a balanced fight that is compelling and interesting in an MMO. That part alone, I've been talking about coding, will take forever, and it will require some very creative people on that staff. I don't doubt there are some creative people on that staff, but I don't feel like I would. I wouldn't guarantee that they could figure that out and also do the coding part. It's just Joey went about this in a very clear, strategical manner, where he basically said, all right, we're going to promise the world, give a very open-ended, hopeful message, give no specific details, and get people excited, which is what he did. What he provided is going to be eaten up like fucking candy by everybody. And hopefully he can do something with it, because now all of a sudden he's actually got some time. He's bought his team those few months of not panicking. I've seen some people kind of turning it around. They're not as negative on the TTR staff anymore. So now that you've got your time, Joey, you better do some fucking work. Get your people organized and make this shit happen. Because if you don't, I mean, well, let's be real. No one's going to give a shit anyway. But a lot of people who actually pay attention to, whether or not you keep these promises, like myself, if 2 years from now you haven't done any of the shit you promised, I think everyone will be more or less convinced that this whole thing is never going to actually develop. So, but this is a situation that the TTR team put themselves in by promising a lot, by promising to be these unique innovators, transform the game, make it better. When you promise significant change, that's when you're expected to deliver, because that's what would separate it from just being a private server. Because if a private server just said, okay, we're going to try to maintain, we don't have a lot of help, we're going to do the best we can, that's one thing. These guys are directly promising the fucking world, and we'll see how it goes. I hope they can figure it out. And that's all I really got to say on the interview. I don't want to get too much into his random specifics, because to me, quite honestly, they don't matter. Because none of it's going to happen I don't think any of it's going to happen the way he says it will. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I can't see it just being where, just because he says some shit without any specific details, it's going to suddenly contradict their pattern of behavior for all this time. It just doesn't work that way. That's not the way. Just saying these inspiring words is not going to make his team 3 times more skilled and productive. But you know what? All I can do is wait and see what happens and hope for the best that I am wrong. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you appreciated this video. I can tell that I'm just guessing I'm going to get a shit ton of dislikes for a long time now because I'm being negative and criticizing the game. But that's okay. I'm not going to change what I'm saying to appease viewers. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.